Hey everyone, it's Chantel from BeautifulSong.com. This is my first blog post in a series called Answers to Your Questions. It's in response to all the great questions you've been leaving me on my Facebook and my email, and on the blog post I did a couple weeks ago. I got a lot of great questions, a lot more than I was expecting. Some of them are challenging, some of them are really random, some of them are interesting, and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun answering these, and hopefully by the time I'm done you'll know a little bit more about the person behind the words. And that was the whole point of this. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I've had fun reading your questions, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, my first question is a shoe question. It says, what are your favorite pair of shoes? I have to admit that I have never liked shoes. I've always been a barefoot girl, and I've always had a lot of problems with my feet. They're kind of flat, and ever since I can remember, standing on them for more than an hour or two at a time, no matter what I was wearing or not wearing, always gave me a lot of pain, and my feet always hurt. And so I just kind of decided I didn't like shoes. About 6 years ago, I was here in Tennessee and on my feet a lot, and my feet were just killing me, and my pair of sandals I had broke. So I went into a little store called Rock Creek, and I sat down, started looking at, I think they're Teva sandals, which is what I'd always worn before, and a man came up to me who was working in the shoe department. He took a look at my feet and he said, "You need to be wearing Chacos." He said, "You aren't getting the support you need. It's no wonder your feet hurt." And I thought he was just trying to be a good salesman, but I put them on, and 6 or 8 years later, I don't remember which it's been, I'm still wearing these pretty much every single day. I have worn them to do just about anything that my life requires. I have used them to hike in. I've gone to town. If you were to just observe the life of my feet, this is what you'd see on them literally 95% of the time. The only thing I didn't do was walk down the aisle on my wedding day in a pair of Chacos, and I seriously considered it, and probably if it had been a summer wedding I might have done it. But yes, this is hands down the best pair of shoes I ever bought, and it has been worth every penny. I have given them so much use. I thought they'd fall apart much sooner than they have. I still have a little bit of a sole, and other than being very dirty and a little bit worn in some places, just this year, for the first time, I'm seeing a little bit of failure, and that's just a little bit of ungluing right here. So the quality, you really just can't beat it. And that's my Chaco plug. In other words, if you've never tried Chacos, go and at least try them on. It takes a couple weeks to adjust, but your feet will be happier than they've ever been. And I am about to buy another pair. So yes, favorite shoes. Okay, now that Chaco plug is out of the way, I have another question here. It is, how tall are you? I am on the tall side of short at 5 foot 5 inches. And yes, everyone always asks, how tall is your husband? Because you look almost the same height. And it's true. Scott is 5 foot 6.5 inches. So depending on where we're standing and what kind of shoes we're both wearing, we are nearly the same height. It doesn't bother either of us. I think that I like that he's almost the same height as me. It's comfortable and we can talk eye to eye. There are times when we both joke that we need to have some leg extensions because we can't reach things on the top shelf, but other than that, being short's great. Okay, my next question is, do you enjoy sewing? And yes, I do enjoy sewing. I was 4 years old when I had my first sewing lesson. I remember it very vividly. I got to pick out fabric by myself for a little bag, and I got to sit at a sewing machine for the very first time all by myself, and I did a horrible job. I couldn't sew in a straight line or hardly follow the patterns. I kept forgetting to put the presser foot down, and I think I spilt all my pins on the floor too. But somewhere in the middle of that probably very trying first lesson, I fell in love with sewing, and I always told myself that someday I would be a decent seamstress. And it's something that I'm still working on. I think I had 4 official sewing lessons in my life, and other than that, it's been a trial and error experience. It's been a great experience. I have made some clothing that I'm not ashamed to wear, and I've made a lot of things that I am ashamed to wear and that I threw away promptly. But it's been fun. I still dream of being a great seamstress someday, and my goal is to one day be half as good as my friend April is. She is the most amazing seamstress I've ever known. She sewed my bridesmaids' dresses out of a picture in my mind that I don't even know how she managed to envision, but she did, and they were perfect. And so I always tell myself, if one day I look back and I realize that I'm half as good as she is, I will have more than reached my goal of being a great seamstress. Okay, last question for this vlog is, have you ever had any pets besides cats and dogs? Oh wow, let's see, what have I had? I have had probably 4 hamsters and at least 15 gerbils. That was an accident, but gerbils multiply very quickly. I have had a couple guinea pigs. I have had 6 or 7 rabbits. One of them was a long-haired kind of Angora one. He was my favorite. I have had a couple lizards. One of them was a 4-foot iguana. He always caught a ride. He liked to put his little claws right here on my shirt, and he'd ride around the house with me. My mom hated lizards though, so eventually he had to go. I don't know if you really call them pets, but I have had several aquariums of freshwater fish, tropical fish, and we had a goat a couple times when I was young. And what else? Seems like we had something else, but I don't remember. Maybe a small snake or something. But yes, I have had more traditional pets, but still a variety of them besides cats and dogs. But cats are still my favorite. Alright, and I guess we'll call that good for now. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, enjoyed the random things that make up my life, and I will see you next week.